So today is March 6th, 2015, and I wanted to talk to you today about why I'm vegan and how I became a vegan. So back in March of 2007, I decided to become an ethical vegetarian. I basically decided overnight. For a couple of weeks I had been thinking about becoming vegetarian, and my big reason was that I just didn't feel right eating meat. I felt like it was wrong. I didn't want to hurt anything. I didn't want to kill anything. And my big reasoning behind it was actually that I didn't feel like I could actually do the deed of killing something. I felt like that was so horrible and so wrong to be the person who decides when something lives or dies, that I decided I didn't want to be a part of it anymore. I didn't want to eat meat. And I basically sat down at dinner one night. I have a very traditional family, and I remember my mom served chicken and some vegetables and some, I think there was like couscous or some sort of starch. And I sat down for dinner, and we were passing around dishes and serving ourselves, and I just said no thank you when the chicken came around. And my mom said, "What, do you want to be a vegetarian?" And I was like, "Actually, yes." So my parents were pretty supportive. I was surprised. I thought that they were going to be apprehensive. My mom was a little bit apprehensive at first. She gave me some pamphlets about becoming a vegetarian, things that I would need to know, vitamins I would need to take, and that was helpful. I didn't know about B12 or iron deficiencies or all of these things, which I'll probably talk about later on my channel. But it was definitely helpful, and there was some information that I wanted to research on my own. So I became an ethical vegetarian, but I wasn't very healthy. I ate a lot of mac and cheese and pizza and just a lot of dairy products in general, and a lot of processed foods. I was definitely a carbivore, but I wasn't eating the carbs that I eat now. I eat high carb now, but I eat high carb in a sense that I eat lots of potatoes and fruits and whole grains and other healthy vegetables. I try to eat plant-based. That's why I'm plant-based power. So I was living this vegetarian life, but other than cutting out meat, my diet wasn't very healthy. So fast forward to my last semester of college. I was about to graduate early from college in December of 2011, and I started getting lots of issues with my digestion. I was going to the bathroom frequently. I was having 5 to 10 bowel movements a day, which is not at all normal. And it was very uncomfortable and very embarrassing. I didn't know who to talk to about it. So this happened from, I want to say, November of 2011 it started, and it progressively got worse. I ended up moving to New Jersey in 2012 for a job, and it was so bad that I would call out of work some days. I went to a doctor about it, and the worst part was when I got test results back, she said that I was perfectly healthy, and I was not perfectly healthy. I definitely had some issues. So I decided to pursue an alternative diet. First, I tried gluten-free. I know gluten-free works for some people, but it did not work for me at all. At first, I thought I was getting good results, but it turned out it was just that I cut out a lot of processed food. So I cut out things like crackers and pasta and white bread, and I started replacing those with things like brown rice and whole grains and vegetables and fruits, but I was still having issues. And what I ended up discovering in the fall of 2011 was I was actually dealing with some digestive issues that were caused by dairy products. What I ultimately came to the conclusion of was I had IBS, irritable bowel syndrome. And it took me about a year to recover from my symptoms. In the fall of 2012, I decided to start reading up on veganism. And it was just the next step because I had a lot of vegan friends. I was very familiar with it, being vegetarian. So it was really just the next part of my journey. That there's a thing out there called a plant-based diet, and that being plant-based is so good for you. So I started doing my research. One of the first books I read was like Vegan for Dummies, and then I read The Kind Life by Alicia Silverstone, and that really sparked something in my head. I realized I was eating a lot of crap. Pizza wasn't good for me. I needed to go in a direction where I was eating less processed foods, less oils, and eat more whole plant-based foods. So I didn't stop there. I read probably a dozen books in between the time when I started transitioning and when I actually became vegan. And it helped educate me. I think the best book that I read was The China Study, and also Whole, which is another book by Colin Campbell. It really sparked something in me where I wanted to make this change. I wanted to be healthy. Having come from a family where heart disease and cancer run rampant, it really made me feel good to know that I was going to be able to prevent a lot of disease just by eating healthy and eating whole. And I didn't have to deprive myself. I could eat whatever I wanted within a vegan diet. So I began transitioning around December of 2012. I remember it was after Christmas because I spent a traditional Christmas eating lots of sugar cookies and things that were terrible for me. And then in January, I really started to ramp it up. I started making myself a lot of healthier things. So I did green smoothies every day. I ate whole oats. I started looking into different recipes. I was eating a lot of seaweed salad because if you do read Alicia Silverstone's book, she talks a lot about using sort of Eastern diets, and she eats a lot of seaweed and rice. And so if you read her book, you can learn more about also fermented products. So I started doing that, and I gave myself goals. So my first goal was to be vegan for a weekend. My next goal was 2 weeks. After that, it was a month. And every time I reached a goal, I would treat myself with something not vegan, which seems counterproductive, but it actually taught me a lot about my body and how I reacted to food. So I would treat myself with a piece of cheese and get sick and realize that that was not good, that was not healthy, and it encouraged me to stay vegan. So eventually, after a trip to Disney in April of 2013, that was the last time I had any dairy products, I officially became vegan. So coming up next month, I will be vegan for 2 full years. And it's had a lot of great benefits. I no longer have IBS symptoms. The only time I really get flare-ups from IBS would be when I eat like greasy or oily foods, like fast food sort of French fries. And I try to just stay away from foods like that. So I'll talk a little bit more about exactly what I eat and how long it took me to kind of cure my symptoms in another video, but I just wanted to give you kind of an introduction. So because it's March, it is my vegiversary of being vegetarian, so I'm just hitting 8 years and I'm very excited about it. So I just wanted to share my story, and I hope that this helps to teach you a little bit about me and maybe inspire you to try a vegan diet this year. All right. Have a great day. Bye.